So this is the exact sales script that my agency uses to close 60% of our leads on $3 to $25,000 packages. Okay, this is the only sales script that you're ever going to need for the rest of your sales career. Not saying that your sales script sucks, but if you don't have hundreds of people using the exact same scripts that results in a company-wide 50% or more close rates, then it probably does suck. But anyways, you're on the right video. Pictured right here is your sales script being burned after you complete. All right, so get your pens, your papers out. It's going to be a good one. First off, some evidence to back up this claim. So here's one of our reps. He had a week in July where he was closing on a 57% rate. This was selling a $5,000 offer, and you can see all of the green events here were closed deals. 62K cash collected, a total of 110K in revenue. Some were payment plans, obviously. Here's another one. These two reps, 19 and 23, between two reps, they did nearly $250,000 in cash collected, selling a $3,000 to $8,000 offer. As you can see, 50%, basically 51%. And here's just a bunch more testimonials that I have on my story. If you like seeing a lot of people making a lot of money, follow me on Instagram. But here's Ben, one of the guys that showed above, made 9K in 2 weeks. Here's a $17,000 sale. Every single one of these sales used this exact sales script. Some other notable ones here. Amon closed an $80,000 day, a $75,000 package, as well as a 5K down payment for a $25,000 offer. So this stuff applies to like lower ticket stuff, higher ticket stuff, absolutely. What else do we got in here? You guys get the idea. This stuff works. So before I dive into the script, just a little bit of background on me. So this is me. I grew up in a immigrant family. When I first got into sales, well, before I got into sales, I was on the BS university route. As you can tell in this picture, very excited about it. Hated every aspect of it, honestly. I grew up my whole life like dreading the 9 to 5 in the cubicle. I saw my parents do it. I saw everybody doing it. I had no direction, no clue what I was going to do. I just knew I didn't want to do that. And that's how I stumbled across sales after failing with e-commerce, failing with reselling shoes. I tried trading, all of it. I just burned a bunch of money. And that's when Dylan, my business partner, reached out to me and he told me about the world of high ticket closing. So here's Dylan. This is us. When I first started closing, we were doing calls. We would do them out of Wendy's. We would do them out of Starbucks. We were selling for like this e-commerce coach at the time who sold a $5,000 offer. And yeah, like it was insane. Like we were just doing dials as much as we possibly could. It's funny actually. The Starbucks that we used to work at, they would make us buy like a drink every hour just because at one point, like we filled up the Starbucks with like 6 or 7 reps. Everybody is on calls, you know? So yeah, humble beginnings. But anyways, that ended up going really well for us, that first e-commerce offer. Between myself and Dylan, we were doing like $1 million months. This was back in 2019, 2020, right before you know what went down and this entire online space just exploded. So we hired out a team really quickly, just a bunch of our friends and people who we knew in the area. We got up to 10 closers, right? Again, everybody using the same sales script that was working for us. Like I said, doing about $1 million a month for one offer, right? This picture was in later on in 2020, but in the fall of 2020, we actually started working with our biggest online clients. One of the biggest that we've ever landed. Obviously, when you do $1 million a month for somebody like the guy we were doing before, people take notice. We actually started working with Ty Lopez, and we obviously expanded our team. And that's when our model for our sales agency kind of changed. So rather than just selling for one single client, we started scaling horizontally, meaning we would take on more and more coaches and more online offers, and we would build their sales teams for them, right? This allowed us to essentially become the go-to sales agency for all the gurus, all the big names that you see running ads online. If you've ever jumped on a call with them, chances are you've spoken to somebody from my team. Now, the turning point that led us here, okay, fast forward a couple years, we scaled our team, started working with e-commerce offers, SMMA offers, trading, real estate, business masterminds. We were selling for everybody. In the summer of 2022, especially, we saw a massive gap in the remote closing industry. That's when you heard that term getting thrown around a lot. People were being lied to. Like we saw this all the time. If you looked up how to find a job in high ticket closing, you find people who say, step one, get good at sales, watch some videos. And then step two, start sending out DMs and join Facebook groups and try to message coaches. And the reality is, like any coach worth selling for, like seriously, any coach doing big volume, big revenue, big upside for the closers, they are not on random public job postings, right? And we knew that, but everybody else was getting lied to, and a lot of people believed it. And at the same time, while we're seeing that, we are turning down big name offers. Like we're at a point in our agency now, at this time, we probably had like 30 or 40 reps all active on probably like 12, 13 different offers. And we had coaches approaching us, hey, we need sales guys, we need sales girls, we need a sales team. And we're like, nope, sorry, everybody's already selling for something else. So everybody's trying to get into remote closing. We have all these opportunities that we're turning down. Everybody who's trying to get into remote closing is being lied to about how to actually find a job offer. We created Millionaire Closers, okay? This is basically us just connecting salespeople with coaches, right? This is us. This is our team in May of this year of 2023. This event was a lot of fun. We flew our entire team out to Miami, and we did a full weekend of training as a lot of our guys and girls. And then this was in July, actually here in Toronto in our office. So yeah, as you can see, like even the difference between a couple of months, like growing our team quickly just because of the amount of opportunities that we have. So hopefully after seeing all of this, you see that I have a big team. We train everybody the exact same framework in terms of like the script that we use on our sales calls. And we have been massively successful, okay? Here's how everybody screws up sales, okay? The sales scripts are for telemarketers and is the reason why AI will replace you one day. All right, I know that kind of goes against the title of this video, but bear with me. The moment that you read rehearsed lines, like you immediately create instant distrust within your prospects. People are wired to sense when someone's being authentic. Like when you talk to somebody, you know if they're being fake immediately. And this is exactly what you're doing when you say the exact same words to every human being that you speak with on a sales call. And this is what like 99% of salespeople do. Okay, this is the number one reason why deals don't close. People show up to your sales calls seeking a solution. You have the solution. The only reason why they're not buying from you is because they don't trust you, period. Like think about it for a second. Like if you're selling a $5,000 or a $10,000 or a $25,000 offer, right? When somebody books an appointment with you, they have a mental conversation. Hey, am I ready to make an investment? Okay, yeah, I guess I'm down to make an investment. How much am I willing to spend? Okay, I guess I'm willing to spend about this much. And then they speak to you. So it's like the only reason why you won't close is because you just mess up the sales conversation. If you make a mistake, if you give them a reason not to trust you. Okay, so over the past 4 years, we have taught hundreds of sales reps a very simple 10-step framework. This leverages specific urgency and pain point based stages that are going to put your prospect into a buying state before you tell them about your program. Okay, very simple, anybody can use it. And most importantly, it allows the sales rep or the closer to be completely authentic to who they are rather than take on a pushy salesperson persona. Right? Your biggest strength is your personality, and leveraging that and being authentic. On a sales call, obviously it's a little bit unnatural because you're trying to get money from the person you're speaking to, but learn to be natural in it. And when you apply this framework later on in the call, you're going to have the ability to do that, and your close rate is going to skyrocket. Okay, so how do we do this? This is done by one, completely decreasing sales resistance early on. In the conversation. Two, showing empathy and actually getting to know the human being that you're talking to. And three, asking questions to establish what we call a gap in terms of the prospect and where they want to go. and presenting your program as the bridge to that gap. Okay, before we dive into the framework, just some things to note. You are dealing with warm inbound leads. Okay, so every lead that you speak with will have gone through a qualification before the call, and they're going to be applying to work with your offer by scheduling a call on your calendar, right? Now, at the same time, we've also used this script with outbound leads, so it works the same way. There's just a couple tweaks, but just keep that in mind. This is assuming a fast sales cycle, all right? 90% of sales come from one call closes. Very little need for follow-up because, again, of the qualification up front and the 10-step framework that you're going to use. You're going to be closing your deals on the first call unless you completely suck. And last but not least, high ticket, high commissions. You're selling $3,000 to $25,000 packages, typically at 10 to 15%. Okay. Now, the sales call structure. These are the 10 steps that we've used, that all of our sales reps over the past 4 years have used on literally tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of sales calls to produce about 40 million in back-end high-ticket sales for the coaches and the offers that we've sold for, okay? You start with your intro, move into your agenda, situational, vision-based questions. You're going to figure out their challenge, consequential, showing the gap, gaining commitments, self-solution selling, and then the presentation. All right. So let's dive into it. First off, the intro. Okay, this is the first thing you do on your call. A lot of sales reps lose the sale right here. First thing you're going to do is introduce yourself, right? Who you are, where you're calling from, the reason for your call, right? So for example, hey, it's Misha here with Millionaire Closers. The reason for the call is X, Y, and Z, right? The goal is to reduce as much sales tension as possible. So like you really just, and sometimes I tell my teams, like, say something just completely different, right? Like people, all the salespeople in just the entire space, they all say the same thing. They all start out their calls the exact same way. Hey, how are you? I'm good. How are you? I'm good. And then they just dive into it. Like it's just so pointless. Say something different. Say something out of the ordinary to separate yourself from everybody else and just to come off as a natural human being. Because the moment that they identify you, oh, he's just a salesperson, defense goes way up and you've already lost a sale and you're not even 30 seconds into the call, right? So, hey, Joe, it's Misha calling from Millionaire Closers. How are you? Right? High energy. When they respond with, I'm good, how are you, like everybody else does, use this as an opportunity to build altitude and show that you're a high-performing individual. People want to do business with high-performing, successful, busy people, okay? Some things you might say, hey, crazy busy, we've been slammed out with applicants, I'm doing awesome, living the dream. Just got off a call with one of our clients. He just told me that this week he did $7,000 in commissions. I'm freaking stoked. It's really good to hear. Woke up at 5 a.m. today, just one of those days when you wake up early by accident, just hit a workout right away. So, I'm fresh, I got my coffee, I'm ready to rock and roll. Something like that. Just show that you're a high-performing individual and don't fake that you're a high-performing individual, just be one. All right, that's the simple way to do your intros properly. And then you're going to move into the reason for the call. So you want to let them know if they got like an ebook or if they filled in their information or if they booked a call, right? Whatever action they took that gave you their information to reach out to them, you're going to let them know what it is, just so that you guys get on the same page. And you're going to let them know. So, hey, reason for the call, I noticed that you picked up our ebook and you scheduled a meeting with us today. I just wanted to reach out personally and see exactly how we can help. Do you have a couple minutes? Beautiful. Intro, simple. High energy, be cool, be calm, be confident. You're going to crush that. Setting the agenda, just set clear expectations for the call and establish authority. Okay, so up here, you're kind of easygoing, you're high energy, you're having fun with it. Setting the agenda is going to be a different tone. Hey, so to get started, I just want to ask you a few questions to really see if and how I can support you. If I feel like I can help you out, I'll explain exactly how, and if not, I'll do my best to point you in the right direction. That sound good? Okay, great. You want to establish control. Again, you're going to be asking them a bunch of questions, getting to know them, lead the conversation, don't get walked all over. Use your tonality to set that authority, right? Okay, so now the sales conversation begins, situational based questions. So in this stage, you're discovering more about where your prospect currently stands. What's their current situation, personal, business? What are their pain points? What type of buyer are they? You want to collect as much data as humanly possible. Just let your prospect speak. Okay. The way I learned this, well, one of the clients that we sold for, a massive name, he's done like, well, he has a 9-figure net worth. He's closed some gigantic deals. And what he told us to do, and what we've implemented into our framework, is basically just close your mouth. Just give your prospect the opportunity to open up, just let them speak their mind, and they're going to reveal a lot of information. And the whole time you're just analyzing, listening. Again, what type of a person are they? Are they high energy? Are they low energy? Can you sense a little bit of skepticism? Can you sense a little bit of overexcitement? A fast paced, slow paced, move away, move towards. You're really just reading and analyzing. As a closer, you want to get amazing at just reading people. Okay, so we're going to start out your call with a very broad question, as broad as possible, right? So, hey, why don't you kick this off with a bit of a background on yourself and why you reached out? We'll take it from there. Right, I'm literally just letting my prospects speak about whatever is at the top of their mind, right? They booked the call for a reason. They're on this call to solve a problem. I'm just giving them the opportunity to tell me exactly what's on their mind. A lot of salespeople mess up right here. They'll be like, oh, so what do you do for work? And then immediately, yeah, I'm a janitor. Okay, nice. How long you been a janitor for? 10 years. And then you get into that conversation. Start really broad. Okay, some basic questions. How long you been doing that for? Tell me a little bit more about that. Really the key here, and again, just to be perfectly clear, this is a framework. It's not a script. Okay, you want to understand the goals with each and every stage in this conversation. You want to understand the goal in each stage. That way you can just ask specific tailored questions to your prospect based on who they are, right? If you guys are here for a word for word script, leave the video because yeah, this is a different level. Okay. You want to just get your prospect to open up, right? You want them to start revealing pain points. So they might start out the call, hey, at the moment, I don't know, I run a social media marketing agency. I've been in the game for the past 3 years, and we're having a lot of trouble finding new clients recently. There's a lot of saturation in our niche, and we're looking to really stand out online, increase our social media presence. And, I saw your guys' stuff, and I thought it was really interesting, so I thought I'd reach out. Okay, gotcha. And let me ask you, why do you feel like you guys are struggling to create a social media presence? Right? Well, notice I find a pain point, the social media presence, and I dig deeper with a very simple question. Right? Well, it's not really something that we spent a lot of time with because, our services are awesome and we've more or less been relying on word of mouth to land new clients, but, we're at a place where we want to start scaling hard, and this is going to be really important for us to do that. Okay, gotcha. 100%. That's awesome. And by the way, let me just ask, how many clients do you have at the moment? What kind of revenue are you doing right now? Okay, and what type of clients do you typically take on? Right? So I'm just collecting data, collecting information, and the whole time, I'm reading the prospect. Is he high ego? If he's a high ego guy swinging his dick around, maybe I'll stroke his ego a little bit. I'll make him feel good about himself. Wow, hang on. So you're telling me you guys do 3 million a month in revenue, and you're only 2 years into your business? That's incredible. How did you start growing your business so quickly? Right? I'm making him feel good about himself. I'm also collecting information, right? Maybe I noticed he's a little bit wary, right? He's a little bit on guard, right? Maybe I'd crack a joke or something, right? I'd try to break the tension. But the key is be a great listener. You're going to ask broad questions just about what they have going on, whether it's their business, their personal life. Just ask broad questions until you find a surface level pain point. Okay, when you find something yeah, I feel like I need to have more time with my kids. I don't have a lot of time with my family. Wow. What do you mean by that? Well, I work 12-hour days, and it's been tough just because I've had to sacrifice that to really scale things, and I'm looking to take more trips and actually enjoy my life instead of being a slave to my business. Yeah. Wow. That's absolutely. A slave to your business, huh? That's how you feel? Well, yeah, man. Honestly, recently it's really felt that way because and then now I'm really getting into deep pain points, right? What I'm doing here, when you get your prospect, when you start broad, when you go specific, and you just get them to talk more and more about their pain, what happens is the pain becomes real. They start to feel their pain. Okay, and this is the key to building urgency and getting them to make a decision at the end of the call, right? The problem that you're trying to solve, if you're selling a $15,000 offer, you got to find a problem that's worth $15,000 to solve. You got to find a pain that hurts bad enough that they'll pay 15 G's, right? So when you find a surface level pain point, get them to talk more about it. They're slowly going to unpack the layers. They're going to give you a lot of information here. And at the same time, like be very conversational, right? Act like you're just meeting a new person, a new stranger at an event, at a party, or whatever, right? Like something, just a little trick that you can use in situational is be extremely curious. Right? Just be curious. Oh wow, I've never spoke to a brain surgeon before. What's that like? Man, what is it like seeing somebody's like real brain right in front of you? Like the first time you saw that, what did that feel like? You know, like questions like that, they're going to be like, oh, wow, holy shit, I'm speaking with this really cool person. He's clearly not a salesperson. He's clearly not some amateur who's reading off of a script, but this person is actually interested in me, right? Pro tip, people's favorite topic of conversation is themselves. If you get people to start talking about themselves, they're going to enjoy the conversation a lot more and they're going to like you a lot more because you're showing interest in them. And when you do that, all the sales resistance is going to go right here. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it's going to go all the way down. And that's going to set you up for a perfect rest of your call. Okay. Moving on to vision-based questions. Okay. Discovering your prospect's goals. This is the dream state, right? We know what their problem is. Now we want to figure out what is the desired outcome, right? Here's the thing. Here's where a lot of salespeople get it wrong is they sell their product. I've trained my sales staff for the past 4 years. Do not sell their product. Nobody cares about the product. What people care about is the desired outcome, right? Where are they going? What do you get from the product? Okay, so right here, you're understanding what they're going to get from the product when you tell it to them later, okay? So again, same principle applies. Go general and then get specific. All right, you're going to ask questions to completely understand your prospect's goals and again, to get them to start visualizing, to start feeling it, to get those emotions of them actually being there. And by the way, financial freedom is not enough. Go 10 times deeper, okay? So for example, right, we finish up in situational. I might just say, hey, so like, let me ask you, like, what's your goal with getting into e-commerce, right? Again, broad. I'm not really asking for a number. I'm not asking for, a specific outcome. I'm just asking, hey, what's your goal? Again, what's top of mind, right? They're going to say, hey, well, yeah, my goal is really to start making money on the side. I want to be able to replace my income, and that's going to allow me to, just really start doing the things that I want to do and investing and creating wealth, right? And it's like, okay, gotcha. So let me ask you, like, how much do you actually need to be bringing in to do that, right? So you're going to get their big, broad, juicy goal, and then you're going to connect it to an outcome. So if prospect tells you, hey, I just want to get into e-commerce so that first I can quit my job, and then after that, I really want to scale my online business, start investing into real estate and different assets, create generational wealth, and really start moving, right? So it's like, okay, gotcha. And like, how much do you think you would need to be bringing in first to quit your job? Right, well, I need to be bringing in at least that. Okay, and then what? Like after you leave your job and you've made enough where you can do that, like where do you want to take it from there? Right? So again, short-term and long-term goals, I'm getting into it in this third bullet point here. Why do you want to change that aspect? Same overall principle applies, right? Dig deeper. Really understand their why. Sometimes we'll get a prospect who's like, yeah, financial freedom. Who doesn't want to make more money? Who doesn't want to grow their business? Well, we're just looking at making more money. It's like, you're not going to close a deal on that. I promise you. If you settle for that, you're not closing at the end of the call. Get deeper, get creative, get them to really start opening up as to, what the real outcome of that money or losing weight or whatever it is that you're selling. What is that actually going to give them, right? This is going to be this section usually a little bit shorter than situational. Challenge-based questions. So once you found out where they are, where they want to be, logically, as a closer, in other words, like you're kind of like a doctor, right? You're trying to prescribe them a solution at the end of the call. You need to understand what's been stopping you from solving this already, right? How are you going to help them if you don't know exactly what's been stopping them from solving this problem, right? So figure it out. It's usually a limiting belief. Sometimes it'll be a real challenge. I say in B2C, and when you're selling to consumers, it's almost always a limiting belief. Sometimes it'll be a real challenge. There'll actually be something that's in their way. And you're going to help them overcome their limiting belief, or you're going to show them how they're going to overcome their challenge, right? Here's how you're going to start out your challenge-based questions. So before you ask, hey, what's been stopping you? You're going to develop some urgency here. You're going to start out with how long have you been thinking about making this change? Right, keep in mind, they just told you about all their dreams and their goals. Hey, and by the way, like how long have you been thinking of starting something online? It's been about 3 years. 3 years? Really? So what's been stopping you in the past 3 years from doing something about it? Right? Notice how that question just got 10 times more powerful just because I set it up with that first question. Use it. Let's just say they say, hey, well, it's been kind of a money thing. Like I just don't really have, haven't really had a lot of free cash, and that's why I haven't really started anything. Limiting belief, especially if we're talking about, e-commerce, understand your industry and what you're selling. Hey, yeah, gotcha, totally understand. And that's actually a really common misconception with online businesses. Like, did you know that there are 15-year-old kids who do hundreds of thousands of dollars a month selling products, just posting free TikTok videos? Yeah, so it's, I mean, sure, does it help if you have $100,000 in the bank to invest in your business? Of course. But it sounds like it's not really the money thing. It sounds like it's more you just didn't really have the exact strategy to use the resources that you have to see a result. Is that right? And we're like, oh, well, yeah, I guess you're actually right. That's so true. It is that. Or maybe it's time, right? Hey, I just haven't really had the time to start my business, right? Gotcha. Hey, totally get it. Totally understand. And I don't know. What would I say here? I mean, the thing is, at the end of the day, like everybody has the same 24 hours. Elon Musk has the same 24 hours as a person working at McDonald's. Why does Elon Musk make hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars, and the guy makes $10 an hour? It's because you use your time better, right? Might say something like that, but you guys get the idea, right? You do want to. So okay, here's an important point. Once you understand their challenge, like yeah, like your product at the end of the call, it's going to help them overcome their challenge, sure. But at the same time, if you can solve their challenge with just a mindset shift, a perspective shift, maybe some value that you give them, if you can do that before you've pitched your program, you're going to close, right? If you can change your prospect's perspective on something, they're going to look at you and they're going to be like, oh my God, like this guy is freaking awesome. This guy knows something that I don't know. I need to work with him. That's what happens here, right? So I really like challenging my prospects here, and I really like helping them overcome limiting beliefs that they might have, or maybe they have a real challenge. I'll help them overcome their challenge with a strategy or whatever, right? This is circumstantial depending on what you're selling. But boom, now we're moving into consequential. Okay, the consequences of not taking action. What consequences will your prospects face if they do nothing? All right, this isn't really for you. This is for them, right? You want them to understand, want them to verbalize what are the consequences of not taking action, right? Because again, they're going to feel the emotion, and it's going to raise urgency, right? So keep in mind, just a quick distinction here. So there's slow-paced and fast-paced buyers, all right? A slow-paced buyer is someone who knows that they need to make a change, but they haven't made a decision to make that change yet, right? They're just jumping on the call and they're kind of seeing what's what, right? They're slower paced. Versus a fast-paced buyer, they have already made a decision to make the change, and now it's just about how are they going to make that change, right? They're on the call, they're going to tell you exactly their goals, what they want. They're going to have a basic idea of how they're going to do it, and they're just looking for you to be a pro to close the deal, right? So if someone's for example, SMMA example, right? If it's a B2B offer and clients like, yeah, same example I used earlier. Yeah, we're doing 3 million a month, all through word of mouth. I know it's an extreme example, but go with me. and we're looking to build some, potentially build some online presence just to, start getting some extra clients. Um, and we're just kind of looking into ways of maybe potentially we could do that here. Okay, gotcha. And like, let me ask you, like, what happens if you do nothing about your social media presence? I don't know. What would happen? Well, we probably stay growing at the same rate. Okay. And is that something that you're okay with? Well, no, not at all. Gotcha. Again, urgency, right? You're getting them from thinking about making a change to deciding to make a change, right? There's a couple of different ways you can do this, but this is the basics of it. And now with a fast-paced buyer, someone who's made a decision to make a change, right? I might say something like, hey, and let me ask you, like what happens if you start your social media brand and it completely flops? Like what else would you do? How else would you start getting new clients? How else would you start scaling your agency, right? Usually they don't have other options, right? They'll be like, well, I don't really know. Like we don't really have any other, like this is kind of the main thing that we're thinking of right now. All right, okay, gotcha. So basically you have to succeed with your personal brand. Gotcha, right? Again, how? We're closing them on how they're going to do it by understanding the consequences of not figuring it out, right? What happens if they do have other options? They'd be like, well, we've thought of doing like some paid advertising and some stuff like that. Okay, gotcha. But like it sounds like ideally you don't want to have to spend 100 grand a month extra on marketing if you can achieve the same result, if not more, with your personal brand, right? Right, exactly. And that's why we're on the call. Okay, gotcha. So basically you have to figure out your personal brand to scale. Something like that. Okay. Let's keep going. Showing the gap. Okay. Sales is a gap. Getting your prospect from where they are to where they want to be. There's something that's in the way. Your solution is going to get them over it, right? Before you get them over, I need to explain the gap, right? Just make it super clear to them. So you're basically just going to restate everything that happened in the conversation so that they understand the change they're looking to make clearly, and do this in your own words. Like what's going to happen if you do this right, your prospect is going to be like, wow. Like they're going to be like shocked at how well you understood their situation. And they're going to be thinking in their head, like, oh my God, like this person understands everything that's going on. Clearly, he's an expert. Clearly, he's helped other people like me. He probably has a really good solution. And that's what's going to happen right here. So, for example, so if I understand correctly, you guys have been scaling a social media marketing agency for the past 3 years, and you guys have been crushing it, doing 3 million a month. And it seems like your growth has kind of tapered off just because you've only been relying on word of mouth. And really the goal when you first started it, like you mentioned earlier, was to take this thing to 10 million a month, right? And just the main reason why you haven't gotten there is because you don't really have the expertise, you don't have the key people on your team who can really drive this project forward. And that's kind of why you're on this call, right? Because you're basically looking to work with people who have already achieved that result with businesses similar to yours, just so that you don't have to allocate any extra time, any extra energy. You can just follow through on steps that have already worked for other businesses similar and see the results, right? And they're going to be like, exactly, amazing. I couldn't have said it better myself. That's how you know you did a good job here and show the gap. All right. So from here, you're going to gain commitments. Okay. This is something that you're doing throughout the call, by the way, but especially at this stage, this is where you're going to be asking for major commitments. So let me see. I can show you how to accomplish your goal, but you'll need to put in the work. Can you find at least 2 to 3 hours a day to work on this? That's important, especially with like B2C stuff, especially like, make money stuff, online businesses or investing stuff, maybe fitness stuff even. You might like position it as hard for, this is how you gain a hard commitment. Like I might tell my prospect, hey, listen, let me be real with you for a second. You're going to have to come back from your 9 to 5 every day, spend 3 hours locked in on a laptop doing something that you've never done before. And you're going to have to do that every day before you start seeing results. Can I count on you to like really grind that out for your first month so that you can start seeing progress? It's going to be at least 2 to 3 hours a day, right? Tough commitment. A lot of salespeople are afraid of asking their prospect this because they think prospect is going to get scared away. Not the case at all. If you can get real with your prospect and tell them, hey, it's going to be fucking hard, but if you do it, you'll win. Can you do it? Like everybody wants that. If you can give somebody a clear path to getting to where they want to go, it can be a hard path, but if it's like I saw this thing online, like if there was a check for $100 million on the other side of the world, and you were broke, you were at zero, you were homeless, like you would find a way to get to the other side of the world. You would be calling up friends, family, you would work out travel arrangements, you would make it your life's mission to find that $100 million, right? Because it doesn't matter how hard it is, the result is going to be $100 million. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to go through it, right? People want to know that. So you might ask for a time commitment, right? Maybe there's other things that are necessary for your offer, right? Gain those commitments now so that they don't come up after you've pitched your program, after you've told them your price. That's how you prevent objections. I might say, hey, and let me ask you, Mr. Prospect, are you really at a point in your life where you're ready to go all in with this business? Hey, are you at a point in your life where you're done being fat and you're ready to take on a new identity of being in amazing shape? Things like that, right? Tonality, see how I execute that, right? And, hey, let me ask you, if I could show you a way to reach your goal, get to that goal within 3 to 6 months, how soon are you actually willing to get the ball rolling? Right? So these are just 3 examples of commitments that you can use. Again, this is not a word for word script. You can use all 3 of these at different sections of the call. You can use one of these at a section of the call. You can make up your own commitments, right? But you're going to be asking for a major commitment right here. Now, think about what we've done, right? Obviously, we've set the agenda, we've broken the ice, we figured out where they are, exactly where they want to be, exactly what is in the way. Prospect understands the consequences of not taking action, and you've raised the urgency where they're ready to take action now. You've explained everything, you've recapped the entire picture to your prospect. They have committed to overcome the gap and get to where they're trying to get to and do what's necessary to go. Now all that's left is self-solution selling and presentation. So again, gap is established, urgency created. Now it's time to bridge it. You're going to ask your prospect to sell themselves here, right? So you're going to say, hey, and let me ask you, given the gap that I just explained earlier, I'm not going to say that, but hey, given everything we've spoken about, what exactly would you need from the perfect support system to get to your goal, right? Given the fact that you're tight on time, what would you need from a support system so that with your 1 hour a day of work, you can be completely efficient and you can actually start seeing massive progress? Hey, given the fact that you're kind of tight on money, what would you need from a support system so that you can completely limit your trial and error and start seeing progress? Right? Hey, we work with every individual differently, and it's really important to me that if me and you work together, that you see incredible results. What's your learning style? All right, questions like these, right? Again, get a thorough response. If necessary, dig deeper. Again, if someone says, yeah, I just need guidance, not enough. I just need someone to run my ads for me, not enough. Get it thorough, all right? Almost like you kind of want them to just explain what it is that you're offering, right? Word for word. And you'll just ask good questions and you'll just maneuver through this stage to get them to, again, sell themselves, right? So you're going to note down keywords they use. You're going to tailor them in your presentation. So if someone says step-by-step guidance, someone says a clear roadmap, I want accountability, I want to have direct access to people already succeeding, I want to feel like you guys are really on my team and you guys are working with me and not for me, right? Little things like that are really important, especially, by the way, if your prospect has had a bad experience with another company. Super important. This might be one of the most important stages in the call, self-solution selling. All right, once they got it, once they explain what they want and what they need, you're not just going to say okay, perfect. Do you want to hear more about my program? No, you got to transition a little bit more smoother, right? Again, intentions and everything. Take your time with it. Be like, hey, okay, honestly, from what you just mentioned, our program almost exactly aligns with that. Do you want to hear a little bit more about how it works? Right, something like that. Just take it slow, right? Don't rush into your presentation. And they're gonna be like, yeah, tell me. And then ask them, hey, do you want to hear more about how it works? Don't just dive into it. Ask them. Obviously they do. They're going to say yes 100% of the time, but it's their idea, not yours, right? All right. Yeah, salespeople make the mistake of giving way too much information here, and it just confuses your prospect. If you give them way too much information and you just overload them with things to think about, they're going to think about it, and they're going to tell you, "Hey, I need to think about this. You just gave me a lot of information, right?" Don't overdo it. Yeah, you might be a product expert, you might really know your stuff, but understand the key things and present it with confidence, right? Keep it short and sweet. It should really paint a picture of how your prospect is going to overcome their challenges and achieve their dream outcome using your program. That's the key, right? That's what you're painting, right? You might have specific deliverables. As you explain those deliverables, you're painting them a picture. You're getting them to visualize their path through it, how they're going to get from their current state to their dream state. Okay? While you're doing that, be excited about what you're selling. Like, be freaking juiced up about it. I don't know how you guys expect your prospects to spend big money with you on the first call if you're not excited, right? If you want them to be excited, you got to be very excited about it. So really use your tonality here. Don't overdo it, but you guys get the idea. Emphasize the key benefits, leveraging your tonality. So here's the structure: deliverable, benefit, repeat. And I'll give you guys some extra sauce that you can use on top of that. So for example, well, first off, transition into the presentation. Our program almost exactly aligns with what you mentioned. Do you want to hear more about how this works? Right? Yeah. Okay, gotcha. So first things first is the one-on-one coaching. Once a week, you're going to be scheduling a call with your coach where we game plan the exact steps for the following week. That's the deliverable. That's what it actually is. Most salespeople just stop here and they just expect that their prospect is going to know exactly what comes with it, right? This doesn't really matter as much as this does. So this is what's important right here, the benefit, right? People don't buy one-on-one coaching. They buy the benefit of one-on-one coaching, right? So here's something that you would say. We find that direct, intimate guidance, working directly with someone who has achieved X result, makes $1 million a month, yields the best results, right? So on these calls, your coach is literally going to be looking over your shoulder, walking you through every single component of this so that we can completely cut the trial and error and get your results sooner. You might, for something like a one-on-one or honestly anything, think about their challenge and think about how your deliverable exactly solves their challenge, right? So if somebody says they don't have a lot of time to work on this, right? So, hey, with this one-on-one, what we're going to do is we're going to spend 1 hour a week telling you exactly what needs to be done and how to do it. That way you can save yourself, hours of time just wasting on, things that do nothing for you, and get a clear, specific set of steps that you can follow to a T, again, so that you can start seeing results sooner, right? And you're going to do that with everything, right? So you might have a one-on-one, you might have a group coaching component, you might have a community, you might have a private chat. There might be some done for you elements to what you're doing. Stick with like 3 to 4 of these deliverables. Don't do more than that. Just the key stuff that's most important, and you're going to go one by one. First things first, one-on-one coaching. After that, get you access to our group calls where we do this, and then we get the community, and then this, and then that. And then as you're following through all these steps, you're going to notice that you're going to start seeing XYZ results, and then you follow through for a few more months. Our clients typically see X results. Can I count on you to follow through on those steps? So two little bits of sauce that I'll add on to what's in the document. One, I already mentioned, implement their challenge into the benefit, like really tailor it to their biggest problem, right? Repeat back, hey, you mentioned earlier in the call that this is your first time running Facebook ads. Okay, so we're going to be working with you once a week, one-on-one, where we game plan everything. That way, you can skip the thousands of dollars of money wasted on trial and error and start seeing a return on your ad spend in a relatively short amount of time. That way, we could start scaling a lot sooner and start doing the real work. Does that make sense? Right? So you can implement their challenge right here. The other thing is gain commitments, right? So, hey, can I count on you to schedule that one-on-one like every single week? If you have a community component, hey, can I count on you to like really be really be engaged in our network and in our community so that you can meet other people winning and rub off on them. Uh, hey, can I count on you to make these group calls? Hey, I know you mentioned you're not going to be able to make the Friday call. We're going to get a recording sent to you Saturday morning. Can you find 2 hours to go through that? All right, things like that. So you're gaining commitments to everything that you're selling, and you're also future pacing your buyer, right? You're assuming that they've already become a part of what you're selling, and you're getting commitments to the like extra stuff that they can do in your program to see the most result, right? Ninja stuff, guys, super powerful when you can just sprinkle that in. Right? Once you explain everything, you've made everything super clear. Hey, to work with my team and get access to X, just a one-time investment of X. Be like super casual, right? Hey, to work with my team and get access to everything I just mentioned, just a one-time investment of $25,000. Right? Simple, easy. It's nothing, right? Sometimes I've heard people be like, so to work with me and my team and get access to everything that I've spoke about, it's just a one-time investment of $25,000. And they think they're like, the narrator for like an action movie trailer. Like, no, like don't do that. You're just gonna freak your prospect out. Just be super chill, especially when you're dealing with big numbers. Just, act like it's nothing. Yeah, it's just a one-time investment of whatever. Just assume that they're gonna be okay with it, right? Again, transfer of energy and everything, right? So yeah, at that point, when it comes to objection handling, chances honestly, this entire framework is built so that there's no objections that come up. Like it's built to prevent all of the objections. And if you execute everything perfectly, most of your sales, if not all of your sales, will be with zero objections. Like typically we find newer reps, they get a lot more objections just because they're weaker with the 10 steps, right? And then like the more and more experience that you have, the less objections that you actually get, right? But at the same time, objection handling is super relevant and you do have to be able to handle it. So if you get anything less than a hell yeah, I'm ready to pay you, watch some of my other videos. I got objection handling stuff, and if there's a specific objection that you suck with, drop it in the comments, and maybe we'll make a specific video. But that's it, right? If you hit everything correctly, they're gonna say, "How can I get started?" You walk them through the first steps, you onboard them, you congratulate them, you move on to your next sales call. All right. So now that you know the framework, how do you master it, and how do you make a shit ton of money using it? Okay, a couple steps. First of all, understand the psychology of every step in the framework, okay? Understand it at a deep level. Don't just, read off what I'm saying, follow this. Understand exactly situational, vision, challenge, the gap, urgency, pain points, learn how to leverage them. That's going to allow you to ask really quality questions when you understand it, not when you read off of a fucking script. Okay, from there, once you have a good feel for it, role play. It's not going to be natural right off the bat, right? But it will be extremely natural after you role play it 100 times, okay? That's the key. Like your prospects, some of them might be kind of uncomfortable on the call. They have a little bit of resistance. You should be absolutely cool as a cucumber. You've done this 1,000 times. This is easy. This is nothing. This is just another conversation with a cool person who's interested in what you're selling, right? So practice with your friends, practice with your families, join communities. My team role plays every single day, nonstop. I have guys who do 25 grand a month who are still role playing daily. Very key. Okay. After that, go close some deals. Put yourself into a lucrative sales opportunity. Start making big commissions. By the way, like I work in the high ticket sales industry, right, where we sell online products, e-learning, info offers, things like that. We have a guy that we're training right now who he sells gutter repair or gutter replacement door to door. And while we're training him to get ready for a placement in this industry, he went from doing like 7 grand a month to doing like 15 by using all of the stuff in the framework I mentioned earlier. And it's like that wasn't even the plan, but he just applied it and it worked in that industry. This works industry wide. And after that, like once you're closing deals, once you're doing well, constant self-analysis, right? You should be closing above 70%, especially with warm leads. So, you should really have here's how you want to do it. And I'm probably going to be making more videos on this, but you should, at the end of your sales day, like you might have, 15 calls. Maybe you pitched 9 of them, and you closed 3 of them. One, you should definitely be reflecting on the 3 that you closed. Why did you close them? Did you build really good urgency? Did you connect with them in the first 2 minutes of the call really well? Was there something that you said that just clicked? Was there a really hard hitting question that you asked and situational that got them to open up on their pain points? Like figure out what you did well on the deals that you closed. And then the deals that you don't close, ask yourself, okay, I could have, so he gave me the I want to think about it objection. And, it seemed like there just wasn't a lot of urgency. He knew he needed to make a change, but he just didn't feel the need to make it right away. How can I build more urgency? I can ask better consequential questions. Tomorrow, I'm going to focus on consequential questions. That's one example, right? So, on those 6 calls that you didn't close, write down on your pen and paper exactly why you didn't close them and make an adjustment tomorrow. Do that every single day for a year, and you'll be rich in sales, straight up. All right, so the conclusion and your 2 options moving forward. So just to be clear, you can absolutely force your way to boosting your close rate and having an insanely successful sales career on your own. This is how I did it, just through trial and error, and you absolutely have the potential to do the same. But I can't stress how incredibly helpful it is to have people by your side who have already mastered this, giving you specific feedback, helping you play to your strengths as a human being, as well as giving you those very specific adjustments that I was just talking about a second ago, right? That's going to cut your learning curve by months, if not years. If you want to master sales and close more, closing easier at higher ticket prices and do it in half the time it would take to do it on your own, and you want a guaranteed placement with the kinds of clients that I work with, selling in the high ticket remote closing space, with an expected income, by the way, of 15 to 20 grand a month minimum in the next 15 weeks, apply below. There's a link in the description. Me and you will chat and we'll get rocking and rolling. But anyways, guys, that's all for now. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.